Heyo, Chris Thomas here. The topic I want to address with you right now in this short video is really simple. It's why every single athlete I've ever worked with comes to me, and it's for change. Now, whether that change is in regards to some emotional imbalance that an athlete is feeling, this heavy weight of judgment and pressure and fear of failure and expectations and feeling a need to be perfect and they cannot get over it and it's creating all this distress in their lives. Or it could be that athletes are coming to me because they want to achieve a different level of success on the field and they have no idea how to do it, and they know that I'm a resource that can help them get through that barrier, right? Whatever it is, they're coming to me for change. And I would argue that for all of us in our lives, on some level, big or small, we desire change, right? And that never stops. There's always something in life that we would love to be better. But what I would tell you, that I tell all my athletes, is that change is imminent. Like the one thing that we have the power to do is change circumstances in our lives, right? And oftentimes that requires seeking knowledge in order to do that. I am that knowledge source for athletes. I'm that knowledge source for people who want to experience their lives differently. Regardless of why someone is coming to me for change, the truth of the matter is that change cannot happen without action. And for so many people, they don't quite grasp that information is only as powerful as you are willing to put it to work and put it to use, right? Information by itself means absolutely nothing. You could have the best information in the world, but if you don't choose to activate that knowledge, then nothing in your life is going to change. The first step in creating change is recognizing that you want to change. Then it's a matter of, well, have I acquired the knowledge that gives me the pathway to recognizing that change is imminent, that change is possible, that I have the ability to change my circumstance? And more often than not, the answer is absolutely unequivocally yes. But then what is required is for someone to take that information and on a daily basis choose to implement that information so that they can create change. Not choosing to implement that information is like planting a seed into the ground because you want to grow a tree and then you don't water the seed at all. Do you really think the tree is going to grow? And this is what we do oftentimes. We get information, we get all excited about it, and then we don't put it to work because we want change to just happen. We don't want to have to work for it. And that's why for so many people in their lives, their circumstances aren't changing. Their happiness is not changing. Their sense of peace is not changing. Their sense of self is not changing because they're not choosing to do the work to create that change. And work is required in every single thing that we do. Ironically, you even work to be miserable. You're choosing and you're seeking misery, and you're working, you're creating, a circumstance where you're devoting a lot of energy to being miserable. And we're letting our circumstance dictate how we're going to use that energy, as opposed to going, I don't like my circumstance. I want to be experiencing myself differently or my circumstance differently. And so I'm choosing to use my energy differently. I'm choosing to use my energy to move me closer to what I want. And that happens in increments. That happens microscopically. That happens in bits and pieces. But we want a panacea. We want a magic wand oftentimes that doesn't require the work on our end. We just want it to happen. And if it's not happening, then we're distraught about it. But the reality is it's not happening because we're not making it happen. You have to create what you want. You cannot find something you're not seeking, right? Just because you want change, just because you want to be happy, just because you want to achieve greater success, that in itself is great, but wanting is not the same as creating. And so when athletes come to me and I work with them out on the field, the power of that is that I get to teach them how to actually do, how to create the end results that they want, how to work for it, right? And that work is so rewarding because they undoubtedly see the results like almost immediately. And so what it's conditioning them to recognize is that if I'm willing to put in the work, then change is imminent. It can be mine. I experienced that in an hour and 15 minutes. When I sit down and consult with athletes and they're talking to me or sharing with me things that are going on with them in their lives as athletes, and oftentimes just in their lives as people, I get a chance to sit with them, help them identify why it is that they've been feeling the way that they're feeling. And that in itself is so empowering, because it's hard to move forward and you don't know why you've been stuck where you are. But once you have that information, it's like this relief that it all makes sense why I was feeling this way. So now I'm willing to be this blank canvas who can move forward and create an entirely new experience for myself. Because now I have the information, so long as I'm willing to work for it, change is imminent. And that's what's so empowering, is what I'm really doing is empowering people to take control over the experiences that they want. If you don't like where you are, if you don't like how you feel, then you have to make a decision, a choice to take action. Once you have the information, then all you have to do literally is take action, and you will progressively move towards where you want to go. But you have all the power. We have to be willing to work for it. I'm not saying that change is easy. I'm saying that change is always possible. And I've been working with athletes for 17 years. I've seen it firsthand. Athletes that are in just the absolute emotional abyss. Athletes that are struggling and have no success ever. You know, I've worked with those athletes and watched them become someone and something that changes the trajectory of their life. Changes their sense of self, their self-confidence, what they think they deserve in life, how they walk, how they talk, how they smile, how they embrace other people, what they choose to give to the universe. Like that right there is, you can't put a price tag on that. That's life-changing. And ultimately, this is what happens. Like what I'm doing is I'm using the sports environment to give people the tools that will allow them to change every circumstance potentially in their lives, not just in their sports experience. And they're the ones that recognize that before I even mention that to them. If you don't like the way that you feel about who you are, ask yourself why. What is it that you want to change about who you are? How is it that you want to feel? And how are you going to do that? You know, unfortunately, we live in a world where for a lot of people, they're unhappy because they've given the universe the power to value them and to make them, you know, feel one way or the other, and they spend too much time as young people, like, you know, sensationalizing everybody else's life and how great it is and not investing in their own. Like we do things so backwards oftentimes, and we wonder why we're not happy. We wonder why we can't find success. We wonder why we have no sense of self. Stop worrying about what everyone else is doing, and stop, you know, spending all your time, you know, getting wide-eyed about everybody else's experience that they're having, thinking that everyone else's experience is better than yours, because half of what you see is a facade, is what people want to create, and you're buying into it. But whether it was a facade or not, like, what does it matter? Like, this is your life. Take control over your life. Choose what you want your life to be. Your life is going on. Life is the most amazing thing that we can experience. There's so much out there that you can gravitate towards that makes life so rewarding and the best experience ever. But we don't spend enough time seeking that. We spend most of our time lamenting everything that's wrong in our lives, what we don't have, who doesn't like us, what we're not getting. Like, how does that draw you closer to the life you actually want? All you're doing is conditioning yourself to focus every day on the things that aren't right in your life, or that you have, you know, convinced yourself isn't right in your life. Like, how are you going to win? You're not winning that game. So if this is about winning in some regard, and this is about moving forward in some regard, and this is about creating a different reality for yourself in some regard, then you have to choose to pursue the life that you want with the information that you get that gives you the pathway to experiencing the life that you want. Without action, information is powerless. I cannot tell you how powerful it is to let people have a glimpse at what life can look like if they choose to take action and invest in themselves. Investing in yourself is taking action. So my message to you is take action. If you want change in your life because you're not happy with where you are, whether that's in sports or life, take action. Get the information that gives you a pathway to the life that you want to lead. Let yourself see those possibilities and then choose to take action. If you do that, change is imminent. And every one of us deserves to be happy and successful and have balance. But just because we deserve it doesn't mean we're going to have it. You have a huge role to play in that. Hopefully this video helps you.